Hope we're all doing well. I've got a really exciting topic for you coming up. Reporting. Sorry, I just saw a few reactions there. Yes, not one of the more exciting topics, but definitely an area where Zedmed really showcases its fine detail. That's definitely with reporting. Now, due to the many reports that Zedmed can generate, I've got a lot to get through. So I apologise, I will be reading because I don't want to leave out any information. There's lots of different reports that are going to appeal to different clinics, and I'd like to give you a brief overview of each of those reports. I'm not going to be able to cover all of them, but just a little teaser for some functions that we can do in reporting, and hopefully I can showcase some features that you aren't aware of, which can potentially lead into a call to our support team. You can reach out to one of the 3 trainers after today's session. I'm sure we can organise a time to spend 15-20 minutes and take you through reporting with your clinic's data, so it makes it a bit more relevant to yourselves. So, let's get started. Zedmed Office Reporting performs a variety of different functions, including we've got daily reports, we have monthly reports, end of month reports, patient reports, and we've got doctor reports. Let's have a look at a few of the daily reports that can be run on a daily basis and can give you a snapshot of what is occurring daily. First report we'll look at, apologies, before I get started. As you guys know, this is a test system. Trying to generate data from a test system that hasn't got data in it, it's quite challenging. However, we've got a lot more test systems available at the office, and I did take some screenshots of the various reports. So I'll be asking Chris to queue those up. Chris, do you want to double check that that folder is reporting? Awesome, thank you. So as I was saying, the first report we'll take a look at is the banking report, which you can find under banking reports. This report is used to balance what money has been taken the day before when closing your banking batch. Now, we have session and we have batch. Can I get some help from someone to explain what's the difference? What's a session and what's a batch? Anybody? Sing it out. I know there's people in here that know the answer.
A batch would have been closed.
Yes.
No, session's still running. The session's still running.
Sort of. You're on the right track. Can anyone help Doreen out? No.
Is batch one day run? One day?
Yes.
Session would be
So you can have multiple sessions within a batch, depending on how busy your clinic is. You might have a morning session. You might have a PM session. So that would suggest you've got 2 sessions which you can include in a batch. I'm glad I specified. If your site has multiple bank lists, you will need to select the appropriate bank list on the right-hand side. Chris, can you queue up the banking report PDF, please? So, first of all, this will give you a breakdown of the different payment types. We've got credit, we've got check, you can see cash picking up, FPOS, and down the bottom you will have all of your totals. Again, guys, I'm just giving you a peek at this. If it piques your interest, please let us know. We can go into more detail later on. So that's the banking report. The next daily report we'll take a look at is the attendance report. You'll find this under daily reports and attendances. Now this one's handy to give your doctors at the end of the day, potentially to give them an idea of the patients they've seen and the totals they've made. Quite a common request. Chris, can we just take our start date back a year? Thank you. Now, if you're running a report for a single doctor, just as Chris has done, you can pick out a single doctor. I'm happy to leave it as George. Click on screen and see what happens. Great. So the reason I chose a year is because I don't know the actual data points, but I just wanted to bring something up on screen. Yeah. So having said that, your time frame doesn't have to be a day. It can be a week, it can be a quarter, whatever time period it is that you would like to reflect. You can choose that appropriately. Now I will point out, this report's probably not ideal for accounting purposes, as it doesn't show any changes. Transaction GST report would be a better one for that, and we'll take a look at that in a moment. If we did choose a larger date range, say a month or a quarter, for your managerial staff, that can also highlight performance metrics around your doctors. How well are they doing? Is there an opportunity to do a little bit better? So that's the attendance report. The next daily report is the waiting times report. Another good one. This will show you the average waiting time for when patients are coming to see you. You can do it on a daily basis, you can do it on a monthly basis. Let's go back a year again, Chris, please. And do we have all under branch? Let's go all. Yep, thank you. If you could, Chris, zoom in a little bit just on the numbers there. So, I just want to point out how this is calculated. So, it'll look at the appointment time and the time they've been attended and the time they've been admitted. Right? If your patient has a 12 o'clock appointment and they attend at 11:55 and your doctor admits them at 10 past, the wait time will be 10 minutes. Why isn't it 15? They've arrived 5 minutes early. Appointment time's at 12. Doctor's running a little bit behind, admitted them at 10 past. Hasn't the patient been waiting 15 minutes in the clinic?
Take it from their appointment time.
Very good, guys. Yes. Only when their appointment time starts. If they come early, that's on them.
That's right.
Grab your phone out, get on Facebook. That'll kill some time, no worries. So yes, you guys are all over it. Awesome. I did touch on it in the waiting room. It is heavily reliant on your doctors starting their encounters and using the waiting room and putting that admit timestamp. Otherwise, if they don't, all this falls apart. the report, Chris, you'll see the totals. Average wait time over the last year, 7 minutes. Not bad at all.
Not that many patients.
Well, I was going to say, well, there's not that many patients either. Another way to view this report, if we go back, Chris, hit close for me, is we can look at waiting times by hour. Let's click on screen and see what it does this time. Okay. There's a few functions here. We can print a date list. We can look at cancelled and missed appointments. We can run mail merge letters. We can send appointment SMS reminders. Chris, can we set the date from 27th of February? And 2 will be till the 3rd. Great. Let's set our branch to Brisbane, please. And our doctor is going to be Dr. Costanza. And one last thing, can we also turn on separator lines? Okay. Let's go back one, Chris. Close. We also have mail merge. Now, I haven't actually quite set up my templates, but this is how you could send out letters. If we decided to go with the SMS option, modify for me, Chris. This is where your message content will appear, and you are limited to 160 characters. I would strongly suggest when sending out your SMSs to screen first. Screening your SMS message content before you send it out just allow you to give a bit of proofreading, double check it, make sure you've got any typos in there. Because once you hit send, it'll send them all out and give you a confirmation of how many have been sent. So that's our appointment report. Pushing forward onto our monthly reports. This is what we recommend, but you can run some of these on a more frequent basis. In our monthly reports, first one we'll look at is the banking reconciliation report. And we'll just there, we'll find this under banking reports. Now this one is used to reconcile and balance against your bank statements. Important to remember, only closed banking batches will appear on this report. Also, it's the only banking report you can set a time period for. So you can set it for a month or a quarter. If we can cue up the banking reconciliation statement, please, Chris. Great. So this will show the batches and their dates, totals, any reversals, and direct deposits and their dates. So the reconciliation report. The next monthly report is the transaction GST report. This is essentially the financial Bible within Zedmed. When you create a new invoice, you will be able to find it here in some shape or form. On the right-hand side, heaps of criteria to choose from. On the left-hand side, we have our styles and our group by. The two main styles you'll probably use is the single line detail, which is already selected, or the summary, if you just need the numbers without all the patient info. Good for calculating doctor pays, and shows you a good breakdown of the numbers. With summary selected, however, as it is just a summary, you'll need a group by component. Probably the treating doctor. Now, for first-time viewers, you're probably like, whoa, this is intense. I agree. Let me break it down for you. So the top half, which is here and above, or above the word receipts, so the top half is the billing info. Bottom half is the receipt info. It shows services, voids, discounts and bad debt. And receipts will show you the payments, credits or reversals and the balance. If you find there's a negative balance, not to worry. Just means you've billed more than you've actually receipted. Right down the bottom, might have a few pages, yeah. You have your totals. If there's lots of voids or reversals, you can view specific transaction types. If you set the transaction type, sorry Chris, you want to close for me? Here we go. So you can set the transaction type to adjustments, set it to single line details, and set group by staff. And this will further pinpoint what's going on and potentially provide some coaching opportunities. I'm going to queue up the transaction GST report 2. All right. So you can see we've got our patient. Over here, what's actually occurred, and the team member's staff code. Looks like I need to have a chat to Medipack. A few things going on here I'm a bit concerned about. Chris, you're looking close there. The last thing I'll point out here is you can do an item report. You can select an item number to view how much you've made off this item. Analysis groups can be set up for regular reporting on vaccinations and consumables, etc., etc. Your analysis groups will need to be set up though. So the transaction GST report, there's lots going on here. I've only showcased a couple of things. So that's the transaction GST report. The next one we'll look at is the debtors report, which you'll find under debtors report. This shows a list of outstanding invoices for each paper type. Each payer type, beg your pardon. Basically, who owes you money? Kind of important. It will default to private. For the end of the month, I suggest choosing all in order to pick up all outstanding invoices missed or receipted incorrectly. This will give you an opportunity to go back in and tidy those up. If we set our branch to all, normally you change the date to a few days ago. Let's go back and, ooh, missed it, wow. Let's just go back to last year, Chris. Well, that'll do, really. Yeah. My system's not that old. And what you'd normally do is click on Preview. I've got a PDF queued up. Can we open the debtors report PDF, Chris? So when viewing the report, it'll group your payer types together. So you can see we've got our private accounts, first of all. If we were to go down a ways, we'll see government at some point, there it is. So we have our payer types, then we have our patients listed under those headings. And Chris, if we go right back to the top. Thank you. You can see just in our headings, we've got current, 30-day, 60-day, 90-day. With your government accounts, bulk billing invoices can take up to 3 days to come through. Just be mindful of that. On the last page, we have a breakdown of what each doctor has outstanding. Now, if we click on, normally we would click on Close, and what would happen is a pop-up message would appear on screen. Can you go into my folder and look for unallocated? Yep. All right. You have unallocated credits. Do you want to view, print an unallocated credit report? What do you think, guys? Mm-hmm. Yes, we would. Yes, indeed. Always say yes, my notes say. Absolutely. This will show you unallocated credits that are present in the appropriate accounts. Unallocated credits is simply money that has been receipted within Zedmed but hasn't been allocated to any receipts. This highlights action items for you to tidy up. 4 sites that make pre-payments like surgeries, physios, that's one here. You will have a longer list, but you'll be able to determine the difference. Thanks, Chris. You can click close there. The last end of month report is account reminders. That's also from the debtors account reminders. With these reports, you have 2 options, private versus third party. Remember, these are just reminder letters that you send out to the patients or third parties requesting payment for an account. The right-hand side sets different criteria. You can choose the branch or select as all. The title, account due, is what will appear on the reminder. And you would select page for each patient. The aging period defaults to 30, 60, and 90. And you have an opportunity to choose a custom message for each one on the left-hand side. Your 30-day reminder, nice and friendly, just letting you know. I've got some money due. I'd love to see you soon. Your 60-day, maybe a little less friendly and a bit more suggestive. And your 90-day, too bad, it's gone to the debt collector, good luck to you. Maybe not that forward. We have a look at the account reminders report, please, Chris. So you can see in red, I've got my title there, account due. Patient details with the invoices that they need to pay for. Print these out and send them off. So that's monthly reports. Let's look into some of the patient reports. The first one we'll look at is under reports and patients. A couple of things you want to do with this report. Patients of a certain demographic, patient types if you have them set up, or even an age range. We have the criteria that we can enable in the bottom right-hand area of the window. Just need to tick those enable boxes. And we also have a mail merge function, which can be linked in with templates. It can be really handy to send out letters. For example, a flu vax for 65 and older. Once again, these do need to be set up in your system. I'm just going to shout out my friendly support team again. Reach out to them if you'd like some assistance with that. We set the branch to all and our gender to female. Just in the middle there. Heel. Click, let's see if I can get something up. Great. So here are all my female patients at all 3 of my branches. You can see there that my patients are coming up 3 times because I've got 3 branches in the system there. Click close for me, Chris. far top right, if you have patients that are attending multiple clinics, click that checkbox there, it'll combine them into one. And you'll see each of the branch codes in the report. Something else you also want to do, just next to our agenda, we have status. Set it to current and casual. What are your current patients and casual patients? That's our patient report. Our next report is the patient service report, which you'll find under reports. This is used to list patients that have or have not had certain services. You can also send individual messages to patients from here as well. Can also be used as a marketing tool for the same scenario I mentioned. 65 plus, free flu vax. And with your message, you can just free text that in there. Before I send out my SMS messages, what is a good idea to do before? Awesome, guys, thank you. So a couple of handy functions there. Lastly, is our recall report, which is also under reports. Generally speaking, managed by nursing staff. As we know, recalls are just reminders to send out to patients to come in for certain services, pap tests, flu vaxes. In this report, we're looking at the maturity date, when the patient's expected to come in. Can you set the date to the end of this year? The end date. End date. Yeah. That'll do. Go to the end of the year. Great. Yeah. No. Okay. I have a recall report in there. Because he has to. It's okay. Sorry guys, I don't have data to show you on this one. Let's set the start date to last year sometime. It's okay. Cool guys. One last report to go through. A little bit over time. Stay with me. This is the statistics report. Again, under the reports button, statistics. This is where you can look at how many items have been billed by certain doctors. The main difference between this and the transaction GST report is the transaction GST report is concerned with the financial information of that item. This is just looking at items. Transaction GST report will look at the financial data relating to that item. This report will have a more in-depth look at the item, so the fees used for that particular item. So let's make this easier to look at. The fee group, you can choose standard or doctors. Under standard, is what you would see on the main page of the item details. So the Medicare fees, the work cover fees, and the first 3 private fees. Under doctors, you would set different fee types for each doctor, and you'll be able to view these. And we have insurers. We set the date back a month. Let's go here. Back here. And our group by on the left-hand side will be treating doctor. And let's click screen. So you can see our item info on the left. It's not very much being a test system. And our treating doctor up the top. And in the red section, you can see our different items, different headings being put. That's reporting.